What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. How are you today? Tuesday morning, we had a Sixers game last night until 1 a.m. They ended up coming back and having a huge win in Sacramento. I thought it was huge, at least. No, people are making the argument that it doesn't matter because Sacramento's so bad, but it does matter because now you at least go home after this Warriors game at worst 10-9 and at best 11-8. Not that that's the best case scenario in the world, but you're over 500. Joel Embiid's ramping back up. It could be a lot worse. You won 2 of your last 3 games. You won in Denver. You lost in Portland. You ended up winning last night in Sacramento. You were down 4 starters, really 5 if you factor in $30 million, and Ben Simmons is just unavailable for you as well. So all around, I thought it was an impressive win. And, of course, there's still a lot of conversation to be had about the Philadelphia Eagles and their effort against the New Orleans Saints. And then you watch the Giants last night and you think, this team sucks. That team would love an Andre Dillard, huh? Just saying. Imagine thinking Andre Dillard's on the level at some of these linemen. Nope. They're a disaster. They stink. Daniel Jones stinks. They stink. They absolutely 1,000% stink. So what's up? How are you, man? What's up, DJ? What's going on? Having my first cup of coffee? So am I. Having my nice first cup of coffee here in the morning. I can't wait for the 7, 8, 9 cups that follow. If we're being honest, I can't wait for the 10 billion cups that follow, honestly. What's up, Yup Sports? Maxey brings so much energy, so much great energy. Sheesh. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's just running around like a madman out there. And by the way, another game with 0 turnovers. It really is impossible. It's impossible. Whether he's not trying to make high-pressure passes or not, it's impossible to not accidentally fall into a turnover. It just happens by nature here, and he does it. He doesn't allow it to happen. It's pretty ridiculous. I love watching him play, especially playing against a De'Aaron Fox. It's kind of cool to see those two skill sets go up and down the floor against one another and go back and forth against one another. And the fact that the Sixers put the clamps on late and even early, Andre Drummond's getting 3 blocks. He's grabbing an insane amount of rebounds. He's kicking it out to the team to try and hit the dagger 3, but unfortunately they kept missing. But their defense was stellar, and it was large for the outcome. Like the Sacramento Kings had, 16 points or so at the end of the fourth quarter? 12. 16's too much. I'm giving them way too much damn credit. They finished with 12 fourth quarter points. That's wild. It really is. What's up, Joseph? How are you? Good morning. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I was on Birds 365 this morning with Jody Mack and John McMullen. That was fun. That was a good time. I think following me was Les Bowen. But, yeah, I had a good time talking Eagles with them. And then after that was at 8:20. So that was about from 8:20 to 8:50 or so. And then as soon as that was done, I hopped on upstairs, and I did that before a cup of coffee, which is extremely difficult for me to do, but I ended up powering through that. And then I got myself my cup of joe, and here we are, kind of just backpacking off of that interview. I've seen a few rumors about Ben for De'Aaron Fox. I mean, I don't think that that's going to happen. I know that's what we would like to happen if we're looking at some of the circumstances or some of the trade. I mean, it wasn't like a real, it's like, hey, maybe you can pull back the layers here of Sacramento knowing that they're a complete disaster and they're dysfunctional. Would I give? No, I'm not giving the whole Maxey thing. I don't think you're trading Maxey and Ben Simmons for De'Aaron Fox. You basically potentially have someone who's the same as De'Aaron Fox right now. So you're basically trading Ben and Maxey for someone who is Maxey. You know what I mean? And I'm not telling you that De'Aaron Fox doesn't have maybe an edge on him, but the growth of Tyrese Maxey is basically De'Aaron Fox. So in what world that's almost like I almost view that as you're giving away Ben Simmons for free. And we know that Daryl Morey is not going to be giving away Ben Simmons for free. Which Thanksgiving game are you most looking forward to? Bills Saints. I mean, not even that's shitty too with the quarterback scenario. And you don't know what the Bills are every single week, to be honest with you. So looking at the schedule for Thursday, it's definitely not the Lions. I'll tell you that for free. Lions, Bears is miserable. Raiders, Cowboys. Raiders, Cowboys over Bills Saints. Raiders, Cowboys over Bills Saints for sure. What the hell is in Bills Saints? I like the Bills when they're playing good. When they're playing bad, they're miserable. This Saints team without Alvin Kamara, and who knows what their status is going to be for game time. I don't know how long Alvin Kamara is supposed to be out for. I don't know the long term of it all. I was just only looking at it from an Eagles perspective to see if he was going to be in the lineup for that game. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn about him playing or not playing outside of that, although it does technically matter for this Eagles backstretch to see if they can sneak into the postseason. But to me, it's Raiders Cowboys. That's the best game on the schedule to give you some sort of actual battle, an actual good game possibility. I say that now. Watch, the Lions-Bears is going to be the most entertaining effort of the entire night. Why does that seem to always happen? What's up, Brodes? Do I think Jalen Hurts is almost elite? Not even close. Not even elite? What are we doing here? Please, let's not start off Coffee with Brodes at 9, 10 in the morning and start going elite on Jalen Hurts. No. Almost elite? No. In what world? My guy struggles throwing the football. Big time. No, I don't think he's even close to being elite. Elite is Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Do you see him close to that? Because guess what? He's light years. 7 billion light years away from Tom Brady. Yeah, big time. I don't understand how people have this type of mindset throughout watching him play. Like even the guys that label him a definite franchise quarterback. He might be. Maybe he grows into that. Maybe it is something where he continues to take strides in the right direction every day and every single offseason. He becomes someone that you can rely on. But right now, I can't fully rely on him to say he's definitely automatically 1,000% our franchise guy. I don't know how you can make that type of assessment. Yeah, we're throwing it into elite. Of course not. He's not elite right now. Definitely not. Yeah, I think he's better than decent because that skill set that he brings to the table with the run game definitely set everything up. The offensive line is a massive part of this. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But so is the ability for Jalen Hurts to take off and do it in such a unique, efficient way that you have to make a tough decision if you're the defender. And you have to make a tough decision if you're the defensive coordinator. And this run game is opening up because the threat of Jalen Hurts, we can't downplay that at all. So he's better than decent. He's not terrible. He's not elite. He's a tick above average? I'd say that. I'd say he's a tick above average right now. Am I going through the full-on list? NFL starting quarterbacks? Is that what we're doing? We're going to go through the standard list? I'm not going to do the rankings, but I'll say, would I rather have this person or that person? I'd rather have Lamar Jackson. I'd rather have Josh Allen. I'd rather have Joe Burrow. I would take Jalen Hurts over Baker Mayfield. I would take him over Teddy Bridgewater. I'd take him over Tyrod Taylor, not over Deshaun Watson, though. Would I take him over Carson Wentz? That one's interesting. Knowing that the ties here for the Carson Wentz one, like if I'm talking individual skill-wise, I think that Carson Wentz has more individual skill. But knowing that it didn't work out here, it's hard for me to go Carson Wentz. So I'll say Jalen Hurts over him. I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence. I'd rather have Pat Mahomes. I like the way Derek Carr is playing. I'd rather have Derek Carr. I'd rather have Herbert. I'd rather have Hurts over Tua. I like Mac Jones. I do like Mac Jones. And, I find this interesting. With Mac Jones, the Patriots are adding more and more to his plate as the weeks go on, it seems. And with Jalen Hurts, it's like the complete opposite. They're taking more off of him each week. And I just find that fascinating between the two. Zach Wilson. So it's so hard to judge Zach Wilson because I don't think it's an environment for him to succeed whatsoever. And he's a toss-up too. He falls in the same category as Jalen Hurts. That's a coin flip kind of thing. Ben Roethlisberger, he's just not even a quarterback anymore. So obviously Jalen Hurts. I'd take Jalen Hurts. Would I take him over Ryan Tannehill? Probably, because I think I know what Ryan Tannehill is, and I hope that Jalen Hurts is an upgrade over Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is he's your most complete game manager there is. He just defines game managing. And I hope that Jalen Hurts is better than just game managing, and his ability to run and utilizing his legs is something that I think can overtake that of just the game managers, his ability to utilize his legs. Matt Ryan, he's just too down on his career. I mean, the prime of Matt Ryan is legitimate and significantly better than Jalen Hurts, but that's not where he is right now. I'd rather take Kyler Murray. Cam Newton is kind of on the back end of his career, obviously. Justin Fields, he's interesting. I think Matt Nagy stinks. I think the Chicago Bears stinks. Just from an individual skill set standpoint, I'm very intrigued. I'd have to see Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts in Chicago, people would be having the same reaction as they are with Justin Fields. So I think there's something to be said about if Justin Fields was your quarterback, it not being a disaster as long as you're not in Chicago. I like Dak Prescott more. Jared Goff, I don't think is as bad as he is with Detroit, but I think the upside of utilizing your legs once again for Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff is a good game manager. I think he's a little bit better than just a game manager, to be fair, but I think the ability to run gives Jalen Hurts the edge with the ceiling aspect. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. I'd rather have Matthew Stafford. I'll take Hurts over Kirk Cousins. I'll take Hurts over Daniel Jones. Jimmy Garoppolo, another game manager. Once again, the fact that he can't use his legs the way Hurts can, I think gives Hurts the advantage. I'll take Russell Wilson. I'll take Tom Brady. So it puts him right in the middle of the pack. It puts him right in the middle of the pack. Middle of the pack is where that puts Jalen Hurts. Right in the middle of the pack. What's up, BJ? What's happening? Wait until Tua doesn't have the worst ranked offensive line in the. Well, that's what it's funny you bring that up because everyone hates Howie Roseman, yet he continues to build this offensive line and has backups that are better than teams are throwing out there. Our backups in Nate Herbig and Andre Dillard could start for the Miami Dolphins, could start for the Houston Texans, could start for all these teams, for the New York Giants. He could start for a lot of these teams, but nobody ever wants to give him credit for that. Yeah, you're right. There's something to be said about these quarterbacks not having offensive line play, yet Eagles are just so spoiled. The Eagles fans are spoiled into thinking that this offensive line style is what all these teams have, and it's just not the truth whatsoever. It's honestly embarrassing that people feel that way, but I'd say, yeah, middle of the pack. Middle of the pack is where I put Hurts. Let me ask you this, BJ. Would you rather have well, it's getting better. The pocket presence is getting better. I will say that. If Tua had half the time in the pocket. You're right. There are times where he's sitting in the pocket for, it seems like 15, 20 seconds. He ends up hitting Devontae Smith on a nice route over the middle. But the play was, if you go back and study the play on 3rd and 2, where Devontae Smith got a 33-yard gain, Devontae Smith was open about 7 seconds, or he was open the whole way. He could have hit him at any point of him standing in the pocket. I guess he just wanted to show off how great his offensive line is. Would you rather, it seems like maybe it's a dumb question, would you rather have Tua over Jalen Hurts? You've been big on Tua for a while. I'm not as sold on him as you are. I don't think that he's a full-on disaster. I'm just not sold on him yet, and I think it's a product of the environment more. But I just think and they can both utilize their legs for sure. So I normally look at, if I see another kind of game manager guy, it's, well, I'd rather have Hurts because of the threat of the legs, where the Jimmy Garoppolos, the Jared Goffs, the Kirk Cousins of the world. It's like there's a cap on what they could be. But to be fair, there's a cap on Jalen Hurts because of his arm and the fact that he can't air it out as much as we would like him to. And there's a deficiency and a flaw in his game in that area. But then, yeah, I mean, that limits him in that regard too. That caps him there. So what's up, Zach? How are you, man? Thanks for hopping in this morning. How are you? It's hard to argue about the Thanksgiving game, but I don't think CeeDee Lamb is going to play. Yeah, but that's not going to, like, the Dak Prescott, Zeke, Amari Cooper. I mean, you name these players, and they're all better than some of these matchups. But like I said, you think it's going to be one game, and then ends up being another game that's the splashiest of the night. You know, it's how it goes. Like, you think one game's going to be the best game of the night, and then it's somehow another one. So we'll see. But they got to stop shoving the Detroit Lions in our face nonstop on Thanksgiving, because they suck, they blow, and it's brutal. I don't give a damn about tradition. Their tradition sucks. Their team sucks. It's a waste. You throw it on, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Seriously need to see Tua with a competent offensive line. This is literally the worst offensive line in team history on paper. With that said, Tua is still top 10 in QBR this season. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just don't think there's enough information. Like, I'm not sold or bought on Jalen Hurts right now. And I feel the same way about a lot of these quarterbacks. I'm not sold or bought on Tua. I see a lot of their strengths. I see a lot of their flaws. And then over a couple-year window here, you kind of make your assessment on what they can be. And it's a lot more difficult, I'd say, for the Dolphins to get their proper assessment because it's sort of like with Carson Wentz last year with the Eagles. It's so hard to tell. Like, I knew deep down that he wasn't as bad as what he put on display. There was a lot of issues why. It was a product of the environment. Doug Peterson sucked. He didn't run the ball. His play design was awful. The offensive line was so damn banged up. You were having 17 different line combinations a game. Their skilled players were awful as well, which all has a big snowball effect. And Carson Wentz was bad and trying to do too much and putting too much pressure on himself to make an explosive play every single time. So it was a combination of 6 or 7 things, which really resulted in the disastrous play that you saw. But Carson Wentz was not as putrid as we witnessed last year. And this season, you're seeing that. Now, he might not be the 2017 MVP version of himself year in and year out. That's very fair. But he's clearly more than just a competent quarterback at the same time. And with Tua, it's like all these issues are kind of looking at him right in the face, and it's hard to fully get a judgment on what he can be until there's a better product surrounding him. Carson Wentz under Frank Reich and having Jonathan Taylor in a run game and having an offensive line that's a bit better. Hell, we saw the Indianapolis Colts beat reporter write up a story about how once they traded for Matt Pryor, their offensive line really came intact and really became something that they feel better about. How funny is that? And look, Carson Wentz is playing better football. So it's hard to tell a lot more with Tua than it is with Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts has that product right now of everything in front of him. There are 0 Mailata jerseys for sale. O-line gets no love. That's funny. I mean, I'm trying to think, how many Trey Thomas or Jason Peters jerseys have we seen over the years? Not many, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, I'm sure that you can kind of maybe go down that road of DH Gate, some of these Chinese ones, some of these Chinese jerseys and whatnot. But, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm not a big jersey buyer. I don't really go down the road of buying jerseys much. There was a phase where I did for like maybe a couple months, and then it really died out big time. So I don't even know what's available for it. I mean, obviously the quarterback, Devontae Smith, the Fletcher Coxes of the world, Darius Slay. I mean, you can obviously point out the Miles Sanders of the world. Yeah, absolutely. Those type of jerseys. But I'd get a Jordan Mailata one. This dude's a beast, man. This guy's throwing people around nonstop. It's pretty ridiculous. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Maxey's a stud. That's why somebody asked me earlier in the chat, would I trade Ben Simmons and Maxey for De'Aaron Fox? I think you got something, if not the same, even better than De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Maxey, that the kid's going to blossom into something so serious. You're basically at that point giving away Ben Simmons for free. So, no, I don't think that would be something that would interest me whatsoever. Yeah, you're right. You can get a customized jersey for sure. You can definitely look into the customization to go get a Mailata jersey. New Fire Sixers jersey sold out in minutes. I did not I did not go for any of. I really like some of their hoodies. No doubt. I think some of their hoodies are dope. The new City Edition stuff. I mean, fantastic. They did a great job with the Spectrum this year. I liked the Boathouse Row concept too. I know last year was a little bit of a hit or miss. Some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. Some people thought it didn't really define the city enough. If you look at it from a big picture standpoint, is anyone not from Philadelphia going to look at a Boathouse Row and know what it's about with all that? And it's like, are people going to look and know about the Spectrum? Not really. It's about us. It's about the culture inside Philadelphia, us in the surrounding kind of spaces here, South Jersey and Philadelphia area in general. I thought that the Boathouse Row stuff was solid, but the Spectrum stuff blows it out of the water. How do the Flyers do tonight? Dude, I have no idea. I think they're going to – I really hope they win, though. In Florida, it's tough. It's a first half of a back-to-back. So if they are going to get themselves a victory, you would think and imagine that it would be tonight, right? Tonight's the Florida Panthers, right? And then tomorrow it's Tampa Bay? Let's see here. Oh, no, excuse me. They play Tampa today, Florida tomorrow. That's flip-flop. They play Tampa today, Florida tomorrow. Oof. Like, I was going to bank on the fact that Florida's dead. There's not a lot of fans in the building. Maybe you can catch them sleeping, but they're accustomed to it, knowing that nobody goes to their games. Tampa's a bit different with their environment, so that's going to be tough. They don't score many goals, and I know that you know this. There's a netminder in the blue paint for the Tampa Bay Lightning that is special, unless they're throwing in a backup netminder for today that I'm unaware of. But Vasilevsky is a dog, and it could be tough for the Fly Guys to score some biscuits tonight. That is for sure. Do the Eagles make the playoffs? It's too hard for me to say no when looking at the schedule, but at the same time, they're a very flawed team still. They still have a ton of flaws, but you're right. When you look at the schedule, it seems like it's kind of right there for you. It's right there for the taking. It does seem that way, and that's something that we need to recognize. So, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say no at this point, but at the same time, it's hard for me to say that they're going to win out or only lose one football game based off of what I've seen to this point of the season. To be fair, the last couple of weeks has been significantly different because they've changed their entire identity and changed their entire beliefs as an offense. So, there is that element to it. They're not the same team that they were week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So is it fair for me to utilize the information and data from them early in the weeks and apply that to where they are now because they're a totally different brand of football? I think it is a little unfair to do that at the same time. So we'll see, but it definitely seems set up for success. And you're also set up for success when you utilize WinView. Are you tired of getting fleeced by the house? Forget about spreads, salary caps, over-unders. All you need to do, it's this simple. Answer questions about the game that you love. It's that simple. You can go and check out Sixers games, Flyers games. I mean, all NFL games, NBA. It's not specifically just for Philadelphia, but of course, that's where we're emotionally tied to. You just hop in, and they have a deposit right now, a promo to double your deposit bonus. So for all first-time users, if you deposit 50 and spend it, that means you'll get 100. If you deposit and spend 100, you'll get 200. I sit there all day, and I play nonstop. Last night, Monday Night Football, unfortunately, I didn't come out on the positive side, but I do more times than not. Tonight, I'm going to look at it for the Flyers, answer some of these questions, and I've been winning cash. I've been going to my sneakers app. I've been going to my GOAT app, and I've been buying a lot of shoes. I know I've been stressing that over some time now lately, but I'm picking up some Jordan 1 highs that are fantastic, some Jordan 1 lows as well, and it's nonstop for me, but it's all thanks to WinView, and you can utilize winview.tv/Brodes down below. The link is in the description. Win yourself some money as well. Answer some questions about the games. It is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, no doubt, Savion. It's exactly that. It's hard to say no at the same time. And it's not like the only way to do it is to win out fully, but that's kind of like your destiny is in your hands. If you're going to win out, if you're going to want to put yourself in the best position and hold your own destiny, it's like, hey, win out, and you should be all right. They're doing well with the tiebreakers, too. Beating Carolina. Beating New Orleans. Like, those are big. Those are massive. There's another one that I'm missing here for the whole tiebreaker stuff. Who is it? Hold on. Why am I missing one? The Saints. It was the Saints, the Panthers. The Falcons. The Falcons. Although I think this Falcons team stinks. Absolutely stinks. I don't care if Jalen Hurts is throwing or running as long as the ball ends up in the end zone. Well, I mean, it's fair, Zach, to question if this is sustainable over a long period of time. 50 runs is absurd. 50 runs is not something that teams do in the NFL. 50 runs is obnoxious. So it's working for the short term, but it's fair to ask if this style of play is going to work. And if a team does, and I know it's easy to say, if the Saints can't stop you, who's going to stop you? That's what I'm saying. For the short term, yeah, I think that you can have a little bit of sustained success from this. But, I mean, if you're talking 3 years, 4 years, if you're talking long-term success with running the ball 50 times, I just don't know if that's possible. And if you don't have weapons in your arsenal here, you only have Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith. That's only 2 playmakers. And, of course, if we're talking about a window of time, that's a bit longer. There's plenty of ways, whether it's in the draft or in free agency, to land somebody, whether it's veteran experience or a young player that's a stud like a Devontae Smith, a Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson, to land in the draft as well to help you out throughout that time, where if you do need to become a bit more passing than 50 runs, you do have the playmakers out there to do it. I also think a product of that is you're only passing 17 times. You're only passing 20-something times. Yeah, you're limited in the amount of targets you can even get for these receivers also, but that's also because they have a lack of talent in that department too. But, I mean, you can't just rule out that it matters that they're not throwing the ball. I mean, it's easy to say, well, who cares? They're winning. Well, the point is, can you win forever doing this? And I think it's fair to say, no, you might struggle at times. No, it might be bad. What's the status of Howard? The status of Howard is it looks like he's not going to be available for this week. So you got Boston Scott, the New York Giants killer, ready to be probably a force here between him and Miles Sanders, and of course, Kenneth Gainwell as well. Oh, here we go. We got this guy coming. He's back in action. Now, there's legitimacy to what you're saying today. Let's see if you don't go overboard to the point where I got to mute you for the day. Lamar Jackson is struggling in the playoffs due to the lack of passing. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I can agree with you on that. Now, if you weren't here yesterday in the chat, 223 went off and was obnoxious to the point where I had to shut him up and he was done for the day. Now, there's legitimacy to this. Yes. There's also legitimacy to him taking steps in the right direction, becoming better in the passing game. Now, to say McNabb to not have sustained success is blasphemy and actually ridiculous. To say Cam Newton was not insane. Like, come on, man. Like, you're going overboard here. Cam Newton with that Super Bowl run, like, come on now. You can't knock that. McNabb didn't last long. McNabb not lasting long. Donovan McNabb not lasting long. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, McNabb's career. I mean, 1999 to 2011. He had a 13-year career. 13 years. 13 years. I mean, dude. 16 games, 16 games, 10 games, 16 games, 15 games, 14 games, 16 games, 14 games, 13 games. And then by the end, yeah, he had 6 games in Minnesota and he played well. I mean, that's terrible. That's terrible to make that type of assessment here. And like, while struggling to Donovan McNabb, like Donovan McNabb and Lamar Jackson in terms of having the conversation of struggling to throw are not even in the same category. Not even in the same category. You're downplaying the success of the quarterbacks that you mentioned. But yes, there is a problem with a young Lamar Jackson in the pocket right now. We'll see if there gets any more egregious comments by him today after that. We'll give him an opportunity to do that. Where are we here? Yeah, yes, Pat Mahomes and Russell Wilson are good quarterbacks in this league. There's no denying that. Am I worried about not having baseball? I know that it's not going to – we probably won't start the season off when we would want to. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. That's for sure. You know? Like, it's definitely going to put us in a position of – sorry, I gotta answer this message real quick. But we're going to be uncomfortable in the beginning of the baseball season. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. We're going to get definitely disappointing in the beginning of the season for sure. Dude needs to loosen the red cap. What are we talking? Are we talking about EZ223 or whatever? He's having a rough couple of days in here. Nah, I mean, not if it's Ben Simmons. I'm not trading Ben Simmons for Buddy Hield. Absolutely not. Just a 3-point specialist, just a guy who camps out in the corner and shoots threes. Nah, you need more for just Buddy Hield. It better be more than that. Absolutely. Sorry, this is what I never answered what I needed to. Harry Roseman gets on my nerves. But look at the front office. Oh, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't realize if you compare him to around the league, it's not even close. It's not even close to as bad as what you think. The New York Giants, the New York Jets, the Chicago Bears. I mean, the list goes on and on. When you think about how well the Eagles are ran, ironically enough, I know it's crazy to say with Jeffrey Lurie and his impact, but ultimately, you look at where they are around the league. They're in there with the New Orleans Saints, with the Los Angeles Rams, with the Baltimore Ravens, with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, you look at teams that are always consistently around the top. And right as of late, they went through a little bit of a hiccup. They went through a little bit of a disappointing time with the end of Doug Peterson And there has been a little bit of more of a transition as of late. But ultimately, big picture-wise, they are ran and structured in a solid way. And you see some other teams and the ability to not even, the inability to run anything consistently. It puts it in perspective for sure. I don't think there's any way to feel about Maxey's development other than it's sensational, other than it's fantastic, other than it's magnificent, and he could really blossom into something special. Carson wasn't the problem. I can agree with that. I can agree that he wasn't the problem. What are we fighting about here with Carson Wentz? Because somebody's saying something about Carson Wentz. Brandon, we had Carson Wentz. He won us the Super Bowl, so that statement is false. What did Brandon say? That guy is a fool. We haven't had a long-term solution at quarterback since McNabb. Oh, I agree that like people who don't give Carson Wentz credit for the Super Bowl is moronic. I mean, he set you up. And Nick Foles playing 16 games in the regular season would have never gotten you a championship. So Nick Foles finished the job, but without Carson Wentz, you're not winning a championship. So you can't downplay Carson Wentz. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Carson Wentz was the full-on problem, but I thought it got so toxic and it got so embarrassing and it got so pathetic that you had to move on by default. It was like naturally there was nothing you could do about it. You couldn't continue to force it. There was a bridge that was broken and there was no going back to it. So, I mean, I do agree that Carson Wentz wasn't the full-on problem. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. We were discussing why Tua is hard to really dissect right now because there's a problem all around that Miami offense. And last year, there was a problem with Doug. There was a problem with the run game. There was a problem with the O-line. There was a problem with the skill position players. And there was a problem with Carson Wentz. And I think it was a combination of 6 or 7 things that put this team in a really tough spot. Carson Wentz wasn't the problem, but I think it was right for this organization because of the situation that was played out to head into another direction. Individual skill-wise, yes. Individual skill set-wise, just skill set. Yes, I would agree that Carson Wentz has more of a skill set that is intriguing, that relates to this NFL game as a whole. But there are some things that I think Jalen Hurts does better. Not turning the ball over, not trying to force things on every play, living for another down. Like, for example, there was a play where Jalen Hurts realized, and I think they were talking about it on the broadcast, that maybe it was a toss play to Stoll that wasn't able to be executed the right way. But instead of Jalen Hurts forcing something, he fell right on his butt and he lived another down. He lived another possession. He lived another play. Carson Wentz doesn't do that. The ability to open up the run game more based off of Jalen Hurts' skill set. You know, that is definitely on the table. But overall, individual skill set wise, I would say that, yeah, I think that Carson Wentz has more of a skill set that I'm looking for, but it didn't work here. And I'm okay with saying, well, it's not. I mean, just to say 6'5" is more than 6 foot, that's irrelevant. Say that to Russell Wilson. I'd rather have Russell Wilson than Carson Wentz. So that's unfair to say. I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Carson Wentz. And that's a size differential thing. So I think that there's a lot on the table here for that. It's a lot more than just size. Yeah, Baker Mayfield's kind of turning into clown territory. And I didn't see that working out long-term anyway. You know, people wrote him when they were better because they were in the dumpster fire for so long. And I'm just not big on the Baker Mayfield experience. He doesn't scream someone who's bringing you legitimate promise to your franchise. I'm not even talking about taking shots at the fan base or whatnot, saying he doesn't care that he's getting booed. And he's saying these are the same people that are screaming and talking while we're trying to run our plays on the home field and all. I mean, it goes deeper than that. I just don't think the kid has it. I just don't think he's going to have it. He's not a dink or dunk passer. I don't think that's not what I label Jalen Hurts as. If you think about like, oh, what's Jalen Hurts? Oh, he's a dink and dunk guy. Not really. Not really. I don't think that's how I would label it. He struggles in the throwing department, but I don't see, like, I don't know. It doesn't scream dink and dunk because it's weird. Like, he doesn't utilize the middle of the field. There's a reason why that is. So when I think of dink and dunk, it's, middle of the field, slants, getting guys going. But like, it's not that. It's out routes. It's rolling to the right and throw. It's a little different. I mean, clearly he's not just throwing the ball downfield either. But I don't know. It doesn't scream dink or dunk either at the same time. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. When you label it that, it's like there's so much more to Jalen Hurts and his passing game that I just don't think that that's the right label for it. I'm not telling you he takes a bunch of shots downfield, but he does. I mean, he takes shots downfield, don't get me wrong. He's not afraid to. We saw that throw to Devontae Smith. We saw that throw to Quez Watkins. Earlier in the year, we saw throws to Jalen Reagor deep where Jalen Reagor ran out of bounds, and that was a big shot. Like, we've seen it. He's definitely an NFL player. Sure. Is he a starting quarterback, though, for a franchise for years and years and years? I think that's a different conversation. I like the young core that the Eagles have that they're building around. Yeah, Dallas Goedert. They have Miles Sanders, who I'm still questioning. He's missing something in his game, and I've said the word details. I just don't think he has the attention to details with the game, and that definitely hurts him at times. But he has the raw natural skill and the ability as well. Avonte Maddox, Dallas Goedert, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. There are some nice pieces there. Josh Sweat is another name. You have Javon Hargrave there for a little bit as well. I mean, there are some names here to kind of start the foundation with. It'll be interesting to see what road they go down for sure, as they have a lot of first-round picks. A lot of first-round picks. Thoughts on Kevin Hart? That's the most random question we've gotten today. What do you mean? As a comedian? As a person? What he did on the sidelines? I think he's funny, but he's over the top. Sometimes I think he's a little annoying, but I think he's funny. I don't know. Very, very interesting. Well, no, I think this is funny because this comment here says we've been saying to run the damn ball. Well, what we've been calling for was balance, right? We have to balance out the offense. That's what was being screamed. This isn't balanced at all. This isn't balanced a little bit. So I find it funny when they're pass run heavy, when they're pass heavy over run, it's you have to get back to balance. You win with balance. Now it's 50-24 run pass, and everybody's all stoked and pumped up. This isn't balance. This isn't balance at all. Yeah, we were screaming to run the ball because it was such an extreme. Now it's an extreme the other way, where I think they got to get back to passing a little bit more too. And look, it's working for the short term, but I just find it funny how the perspective changes on it, where all we demanded for was balance, a little bit more balance, and we're not even getting that right now. But all of a sudden, everyone's happy with it. Everybody's satisfied. It's funny to me. That's all. Yeah, it's definitely better than the alternative. You're not wrong about that, but there's still a middle ground here that we have to continue to dissect if we're trying to become a more competent offense. Like, I think for me, they're not very versatile offensively. If this doesn't work, then what? And I get it. No one's stopping you, and no one can stop you, especially the rest of the way. It seems it's going to be extremely difficult for any sort of team to beat you down. Totally understandable. But I do think that there's, legitimacy to the conversation of you're very one-dimensional right now. And what happens if that one dimension doesn't work? Good teams find ways to win in different areas. Good teams find ways to be very versatile and do things in different ways. And by the way, let me throw this out there. SeatGeek, if you're looking to buy tickets to go to any game, any NHL game, NBA game, NFL game, you can utilize the promo code Brodes at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off of your purchase. It's a no-brainer. It honestly is. It eliminates all the fees. It's that simple. So make sure you get yourself to a game. Use the promo code Brodes. I mean, there's really not much more to be said other than take advantage of this situation because it's staring at you right in the face. Imagine a $20 bill staring right at you. Why don't you snag it? It's sitting there on the ground. You're walking through Center City. You're going to Chipotle. You're going to Starbucks. There's a $20 bill sitting on the ground. You're not taking that shit? You're absolutely taking that shit. So make sure you utilize promo code Brodes. Right now, with the way this team is built, yes, I'd rather be 60-40 run. Long term, I'd rather be 60-40 pass over run. I think that sets yourself up more for long-term success. But with the way this team is built for the short term, yes. But they're not even doing that right now. It's like 85-15. It's like 80-20. Like 50. It's crazy. It really is. No, I don't watch Manning, and I don't watch the Manning cast. I don't think that it's entertaining. It's okay. It's all right. But I prefer the normal broadcast over that any day. Over that any day of the week. It's not even close. I prefer the traditional broadcast. And it's funny, when I said that on Twitter, I said I kind of have a hot take. I prefer the traditional broadcast over the game or over the Manning cast during the game. Someone said, I disagree. If you know the game, the announcers on the main broadcast are useless. They're slow. Their show is entertaining and offers insight too. I said, so now if you enjoy the traditional broadcast, you don't know the game? Like, I disagree. If you know the game, the announcers on the main broadcast are useless. That's not true. That's not true at all. There's something about the flow. And I'm not telling you the Monday Night Football broadcast is something that's magnificent because, quite frankly, it's not. It's not. It's not great. It's better than what they had with Jason Witten and all, but the bar was set so low. Trust me, I'm not saying that that's where you want to be having the conversation. But to be honest with you, it's better. It's getting better. I like Louis Riddick. I'm not a big Steve Levy guy. He doesn't scream NFL, but he screams NFL more than anything else they've thrown out there. And I just need a traditional broadcast setting. I don't like when the Eli and the Manning brothers bring on people and then they start talking about anything else other than football. I mean, it has its moments. I think I could flip to it for like 5 minutes at a time and then go back to the game. 25, 30 minutes of real broadcast, 5 minutes of Manning. 30 minutes of real broadcast, 5 minutes of Manning. I can do that, but overall, this is not something that I personally choose over a traditional setting. So that's kind of where we're going to shut things down here today. We're going to do a 45-minute show here on Coffee with Brodes. We have Flyers Lightning tonight, so I'm looking forward to it. If you have not caught already, I really like the day after podcast that I did, more on Eagles Saints. That podcast, if you have not listened to it already, I would say that was a good one. We took a lot of your anytime hotline calls. I had a lot of fun breaking down the Birds on the day after show, so check that out. Also, we did a Sixers pod last night at 1 a.m. too, so that is something that you should look out for. And then, of course, Flyers Lightning. We'll have Coffee with Brodes tomorrow. That will wrap up our Coffee with Brodes week because Thursday's Thanksgiving, and then Friday's Black Friday, and I actually have a shift on the Fanatic from noon to 3 that day. So we're just the last day of Coffee with Brodes will be tomorrow, just to give everybody a heads up. So that's kind of where we're at. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me this morning, and I will see you next time.